Cleveland, Ohio, presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world, the Big Play Reflog Show.
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I know damn about it. Attacked by Chuck. He's to the 10. He's still running to the 5. He dips outside 1. He's doing it. Touchdown. Sugar Cry. Ready, left, away, back to goal. Here it is. Here it is. You're doing those baseball.
It's time. The Big Play Reflog Show.
Happy Monday and welcome to the Big Play Reflog Show. I'm joined alongside Nick Pustay and Chris McNeil. Boom over there in the producer role. Appreciate you as always. Bet the over. Nice t-shirt. Did you get that from Dave?
I got it from Big Play.
All right. Well, yeah. Dave made it cool, I think, around here. I like
For sure.
it.
Thank
and
you.
he also made Fade Padone pretty cool as well.
Yep, he did. Dave has that effect, kind of t-shirt viral extraordinaire.
Honestly, whatever he's wearing, we got it. Chris McNeil, what are you wearing today?
I've got a Quan shirt on. Once again, a Big Play shirt.
Oh,
Quan
that's one
with
of
a
my
nice
favorites.
leadoff home run yesterday, so very timely as
I
well.
know everybody. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not in the Big Play drip for once. Well, I got the hat. I got the Emily Rogenberg shout out, the shirt
Yep,
that they gave
that
away
was
at
a
the
good
game the
shirt.
other day. Yeah.
I am not wearing anything related to anything, am I? This is just a high school that I never went to.
Nice.
And not the right size. I like that Quan Believable shirt. Did you know that I was the inspiration for that saying?
Do tell. No, I
Yeah.
didn't.
I was the first to hashtag Quan Believable when we got him. And then Cody put it on a shirt. And I told him, I was like, make it like a superhero. And I actually sent him a mock-up. And then he literally made that shirt.
A fun fact for people kind of peek behind the screen of how we really operate over here off the shores of Lake Erie at Burke Lakefront Airport Studios. Kind of if anybody has a shirt, we just text it to Cody like, hey, here's a shirt idea. He draws it, and then within the next 24 to 48 business hours, the shirt appears. So that's kind of how it works. So if you guys out there want to see something on a shirt, tweet at us at Big Play Store at Cody Draws, because he's constantly putting new stuff out there. And go check it out, though, for real, store.bigplay.com. Definitely kind of been overhauled. There's a lot of cool stuff on there now.
Yeah, I like it. We're growing that merch, baby.
Merch.
Speaking of off the shores of Lake Erie, I was up and down the coast, the North Coast.
You
there
were, man.
Last week. Starting off, throwing off that first pitch, Lake Erie Crushers, shout out there. They didn't let me throw it off the mound, though, Nick, which was kind of...
Yeah.
That happened to Gab, too.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me. So, which was kind of worked out in my favor because I don't know what it's like up there, but I do know that I threw a strike. So
Then we got the mound delay, Chris.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I've never seen that before. It was
Yeah.
all fake. I mean, everything there it's fake turf, right?
Yep.
But there was still a delay of a good, 20 minutes while
Yeah.
they were working on the mound, this fake mound there at the Lake Erie Crushers game.
And it
So-
wasn't like sixth inning, guys have been just going at it, a true pitcher's duel. Like it was
Yeah.
the first or second inning. Like they got the guys out there like the Big Ten game a couple of years back trying to fix this mound. It was kind of a nightmare.
they had like 4 people.
Yeah,
out
they
there.
did. They did. And then, of course, Gordy Gronkowski was rolling around, chatting it up with me and intern Jack. So that was a lot of fun.
What was he like? What was his personality?
Exactly how you think he would
Really?
be.
Sure.
Like, imagine what the oldest Gronkowski brother, imagine what his personality's like. That's exactly
Don't
how
you
it
think
was.
the oldest sibling is the birth of the
Yep.
personality?
Yep.
So
Yep. It's if anything,
everyone
it's
just follows
magnified.
suit. Yeah.
Yep.
And of course, he reps Pit Vipers, those Pit Viper glasses.
Yeah.
And
Not
my
yet a sponsor
son
of the show.
was wearing his Pit Vipers. I had my Pit Vipers because my brother, shout out to my brother, got those for me for my birthday, which was also that Friday. And so we got an awesome picture. My son in a Fade Padone shirt wearing the Pit Vipers with
With
Gronk
Gordy
there. also
Gronkowski.
in
That
the
is
picture.
awesome.
It's good
But that
times. good
Christmas
times.
card material almost.
That's exactly right. So that was fun. Then I did the Cedar Point thing. The only bad part, speaking of things that were down like that mound, Steel Vengeance was down the
Oh,
entire time we
no.
were there. So I didn't
Bummer.
get a chance to get back on that. That thing is just life-changing. It's so unbelievable. But had a good time there. And then after that, decided to go the other side of Cleveland, go all the way up to Geneva on the lake, and spend some time up there here in the last couple of days. So it's been a wild trip. And I'll tell you, if you've never been there, that's a wild time. That is a crazy time up there in Geneva on the lake.
Reflog's
a lot of
Northern Tour.
Yeah, you
That's
really.
exactly right. Yeah. So I'm going to start doing those like one tank tours that they used to do from the news.
We
We're
should
going to
get-
start doing that up the show.
Yeah, and we should get, speaking of merch, kind of bring this conversation full circle. Like it could be like a band tee. Like on the back has like Cedar. Chris was at Cedar Point this day. He was at Geneva on the lake this day. Like, you know,
Tour of Ohio. Here we go. Let's go.
Did you visit a winery when you were in Geneva?
sounds like a Sir Yacht video.
No, but I did see a bunch of them that were up there.
Yeah, because that's also wine country over there.
Also an awesome brewery out there outside of Sandusky. Twin Oast is what it was called, and
Okay.
it was really, really neat.
Now,
It's
was it as good as Pina Coladas in Greenbrier?
I'm sure. Speaking of our Browns down there at the Greenbrier, everybody's out of town. I guess it's the height of summer and travel season. Even our beloved Cleveland Browns aren't in town right now. Down there, of course, trying to get their reps in at the beautiful Greenbrier. You guys ever been to the Greenbrier in West Virginia?
I haven't. Have
No.
you? You're a resident golfer on the show, especially Sans Dave.
And I wasn't too far from the Greenbrier. I actually lived in West Virginia for a short time back in my old life in sales. So I'm kind of familiar with the area. I live down in Charleston. But yeah, it's gorgeous down there. That's about all I know. And I know there's a bunker. So in
Yeah.
case there's some kind of an Oppenheimer situation that hits the country, then, you know, our beloved Browns are going to be safe down there in the bunker.
You ever have a pina colada out that way?
No, I've never had a pina colada. 600 calories in those bad boys.
Ooh-wee.
FYI.
Ooh. Yeah, you only want to have one or two of those and then hit the gym after.
That's right.
Well, gang, speaking of pina coladas, there is no segue for this, but we've got our Labatt featured interview. Are they here, Bohm? Not yet. Or should we jibber jabber some more? We could do a little fill in the blank.
Yeah. Let's hit an early fill in the blank.
Yeah, we
That'd
have
be
our
cool.
bets and fill in the blank. We'll start with fill in the blank, and then when our first featured Labatt interview pops on, we'll get to them.
Jack, could you go grab some paper towels? Thanks, man. All righty. Gab, go for it.
Oh, yeah. All right. Sorry, I'm flustered. I just spilled an entire can of, you know what? Plug here. Super Nirvana.
There you go. The Nirvana water, people.
Our
right?
Nirvana water.
Man, we are off the rails. You guys see what happens when Ken's in town? I lose all control.
Listen, guys,
Feelsuper.com.
yeah, feelsuper.com. I've been silly all weekend. This is just a continuation from the entire weekend. So.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I've been wheels. That doesn't make any sense. All right, MLB trade.
The guest is about to be in here.
I'm sorry, but the funniest thing happened at work, but it's not appropriate to share here.
How is
Anyway.
that the case? It's always a
Yeah. Something happened at work, but it's not appropriate
Oh,
here.
man.
Sounds a little backwards.
I know, but it's because truth be told, our scoreboard team, we got a lot of inside jokes, and if you work in live production, everyone's got a real twisted sense of humor. But anyway, I'm keeping it to myself. Oh, anyway, on yesterday I couldn't form any words at the ballpark. I did my best, and I feel like today it's the same thing. Like, what did I just say? We almost like it doesn't make any sense.
She was like, I've been wheels.
Is our guest here yet or what?
No.
Okay,
Hey,
shoot.
Gab,
All right.
Gab, what was the vibe like? I mean, I assume you were there for all the games this weekend against the Phillies.
It was incredible. The
packed.
sellout crowds, I think that's what did a number on me. To be honest, I lost every brain cell over the weekend because between trying to do your job with a sellout crowd, there's so many interactions and congestion between innings. So it becomes a lot. But, man, I really loved having that many people in the house. It was exciting. And the fact that we got 2 back-to-back wins was nice. Is our guest here now? Oh, perfect timing. Great. Okay, let's go back and put our wheels.
What are we doing with our wheels here?
Yeah, I'm so lost.
I don't know, guys. It's been really
Wheels up,
interesting.
wheels down.
I'm just gonna play the intro.
Go for it,
Let's
Bo.
Yep.
go.
Alrighty, on the Labatt Blue Line, we have our featured interview of the night. He is screenwriter, Cleveland native, Cleveland sports fan, Nick Pustay. What's up, Nick? Thank
Nick
you so much.
Pustay.
Pustay,
Nick
my
Pustay.
bad. My bad.
Let me get that correct.
Thanks
for you
for
there. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor and a thrill.
For sure. So obviously, we want to kick things off, talk a little bit about your journey. How does a kid, we hear so much kid from Akron, how does a kid from Northeast Ohio kind of make it prime time to, becoming a Hollywood writer from Bay Village?
Well, I started off as a business major at Miami.
Oh, nice.
The
And
Miami Redhawks.
Yeah,
that's
a
right.
lot of action
Like
love
that.
on the show.
Love that.
Exactly. Yeah, and I was there for a few years, and I just kind of wasn't feeling it. I took a writing class. I really enjoyed that, and just kept taking writing classes from any school in Ohio. I went to CSU. I went to OSU. I picked up an English major at Miami, and just spent all my time writing. And then after graduation, I applied to every writing program I could afford to apply to, probably 20. And I got rejected by all of them except one, which was the USC Film School.
Not
So-
a bad one. Not a bad one to fall back on right
Total fluke. But, I got on a bus, came to LA, and I haven't left. After I graduated film school, which was challenging, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I spent about 6 years just working a day job, writing at night, writing scripts, reading scripts. But it wasn't until I started writing short scripts that I finally got my big break, because I started writing short scripts for other film students. And one of them turned out really good and hit the festival circuit. And that was the thing that got me out of there. Got my first job in 2001 and have been doing it ever since.
Now, obviously, you've worked with a lot of big stars out there, namely Selena Gomez. You could kind of slide my number if you feel like. I know it was just her birthday, HBD Selena. Any cool stories, interactions that you've had just in your time in that profession?
Yeah, I mean,
Like coolest story. I know it's hard. If you had to nail down one, like coolest story.
coolest. Well, okay. So on the set of, I shouldn't even say this. On the set of Ramon and Beezus, there's an actress named Bridget Moynihan who was just
Yeah.
a really cool person, just incredibly gorgeous, talented. And at one point, she wanted to go over a scene, and she didn't like, because one of the producers had rewritten the scene that morning. She didn't like it. She wanted to talk about it, and the only place we could talk about it was in her dressing room. And she was getting changed while we were talking about it. And I was, the kid from Ohio. I was shaking. I couldn't. I was just, everything she said, I was like, yeah, good idea. Yeah, let's do that. And I just tried to scratch together some notes for a scene, and she was so sweet and very appreciative. And then we went to set, and she showed it to the producer, and they're like, no, and they just ripped it up. But I had that 20 minutes in the dressing room that has been burned into my brain.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's as good as it got for me.
For sure.
So now, right now in the news is obviously the writers' strike. Where are you at with that? How is that affecting you on a day in day out basis? Obviously, you're not working right now, but what are you doing day in day out in light of the writers' strike?
Well, I mean, once or twice a week, I actually go out and picket.
Wow.
So that's like, 4 hours of walking around. You get your steps in, but it feels kind of weird because you're walking around outside the studios and you're looking at these massive buildings with
Yeah.
glass windows, knowing the people in there really don't care about you at all. Um, and it had been difficult for the previous 80 days. But when the Screen Actors jumped in,
Yeah.
it really changed everything. It made the picket line a lot more fun. Um, it quadrupled the size of the picket. I remember on a Wednesday, I was outside Netflix and there were maybe 40 or 50 people there. And I went back on Friday with the actors and there were probably 1,000.
Wow.
I mean, it felt like we had a chance, like it was a fair fight. But on the days, we're not picketing, we're just we're writing our own stuff. We're not allowed to really send it to producers. But you can still send it to your friends. You can send it to actors. So, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to prepare for the moment that the strike is over and, be ready to hit the ground running. But, yeah, but again, before
Yeah.
the actors got involved, it was a little depressing.
How is all of this strike going to be affecting, movies and TV shows for people who don't know?
Well, I mean, what I'm hearing is that you won't really feel it until maybe this time next year,
Okay.
Okay.
because a lot of things have already been completed or are in post production right now. Some projects that are shooting in Canada have been able to find some loopholes,
Mm.
but there are shows that you're not going to see when you thought you'd see them. Like Stranger Things is not coming back for a while. All those kids are going to be in their mid 30s by the time you see them again. Uh, so I think that's kind of it. Now my fear is that we're going to see something like we did after the last strike in 2007, which was just a flood of um, unscripted reality shows.
Mm.
The studios last time used this work stoppage, and last time it was about 100 days, but it was only the writers. It wasn't the actors or directors, but they used that as an excuse to start filling the market with unscripted, cheap reality TV, and we really never went back. So, if you had asked me in 2007, can you imagine a time when CBS would be showing The Price is Right on Thursday night at 9 o'clock during prime time on a Thursday, which used to be like the golden 3 hours of television?
Yeah.
I would have been stunned, but they're doing it. And on NBC, it's press your luck. It's kind of absurd and unthinkable, but that's where we are. The network TV is gone. In 2007, there was a Blockbuster on every corner. That is no longer true. So it's kind of scary what happened after that, and it's a little scary to think of what could happen after this, which is why, of all the issues that we're striking over, I think AI is the one that I'm most passionate about.
Yeah, for
Because it's
people out
yeah.
there who don't understand exactly that aspect of this, what exactly are you guys asking for in terms of AI, and what are the issues there? Because that's a big sticking point right now.
It really is. And the funny thing is that when the strike started, it wasn't the thing. Because I'd be on the line talking to people. It was always the thing for me. But, everybody else was talking about residuals and, staffing issues and all of that. But there was this question about AI. And as the strike went on longer and we saw how hard the studios were pushing back on it, the line was always like, well, the studios don't know exactly how they're going to use it, but they don't want to give it up.
Mm.
but we started to get a sense of how exactly they are going to use it. And the fear is that eventually what the studios can do is um, they can input, the work of really any writer. Quentin Tarantino, you input his scripts. Christopher Nolan, any A-list writer, they can input their material, their careers into AI, and they can ask them, what I would love a baseball movie written by Quentin Tarantino. And you press the button and you get 20 versions of it.
Yeah.
And a studio exec can hire someone to read them and say, oh, okay, we liked version number 14. And okay, let's do version number 14, but let's give it more of a Christopher Nolan spin. And they'll get 20 more versions of it. And finally, they'll land on a version that they kind of like, and they will hire a writer for a week to try and, polish it to make it sound like it wasn't written by a robot. And then that's the script that gets sent into production.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of, on some level, it's unthinkable. I mean, I remember talking to a writer on the line who's like, well, do you think anybody's really going to want to see a movie written by a robot? And my fear was, someday that's all you're going to get.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's like Price is Right. I can't imagine watching The Price is Right at 9:00. But if that's all there is, I guess I'm going to watch. And I feel like that's the existential crisis that we're facing as writers with AI, and the actors are facing it too. The idea that their features, their past performances can be downloaded and used however they want, I think is just frightening to a lot of actors. We saw there was an ad that was really popular on Twitter a couple months ago that used John Lennon. I don't know if you saw this, but it was like a 30-second commercial where John Lennon was talking about, I think it was some AI platform. And it was so poorly written and ridiculous. They were using all these awful Beatles puns like, well, if you really want to talk about a revolution, you should be
I
using this
did
product.
see that one. Now when you start talking about that part of it, now I remember it. Yes.
And it was so John Lennon would never do such a thing. And the fact that they can just use him to do whatever they want, no matter what he might have ever wanted, it's just frightening. Tom Hanks mentioned it the other day. Like, he's worried that this part of his career is just a precursor to whatever they want him to do later,
Jeez.
long after he's dead. And so, it goes way beyond entertainment. I think the threat of AI, that there really aren't many jobs out there that AI can't replace. And it just so happens that our strike is the one moment in time that I think someone can try and draw a line in the sand. And maybe it's inevitable, but I think we got to fight back, and we got to, stories about human beings just have to be written by humans, because the robots just don't get us. So that's kind of the feeling about AI.
That's amazing that we're at this point, but that is so true. It always interests me too with writers. Right now we've got the Oppenheimer movie out, you got the Barbie movie out. Nick, do you go and see these movies? And if you do see the big productions like that, like how do you consume those? Do you like think through what the writer's thinking, or do you just sit back and can you relax and just watch a movie for what it is?
Well, I mean, that's the dream, to be able to just watch it and consume it. And the great ones, that's exactly how it happens. They disarm you in the first 5 minutes. Like, okay, I'm in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing, and you just sort of go for that ride. But yeah, unfortunately, sometimes there are films that I watch that I start rewriting in the first 10 minutes, and it's disappointing. It's a little disappointing. It's also like I'm mad at myself. I want to turn that off.
Yeah.
But along those lines, I can also appreciate a film if it gives me 5 minutes of something that I had never seen before. So I don't need the thing to be perfect. But if it gives me something that I had never seen, or inspires something in me, or makes me cry, like that's that's what I want. So yeah, and like specifically with Oppenheimer, which I saw this weekend, I am a massive Christopher Nolan fan. I am a World War II buff. The idea of that guy making a story about the Manhattan Project was just so exciting to me, and there was so much build up. And when I saw it, I was just a little disappointed, I guess, because it's a film about Oppenheimer. It's not about the Manhattan Project. It's about a lot of aspects in his life. So I think I need to go back and see it again and have that experience where I'm just enjoying it and not trying to rewrite it. Yeah, I mean, that's, and if you can see him in the theaters, that's the only way to see him.
I know you're a big Cleveland sports fan too. Would you rewrite the script to this Guardian season so far?
Oh my God, yes.
maybe
start in the off season.
Yeah, rewrite Ahmed Rosario out of the 2-hole.
I mean, I don't want to just take up the next 5 hours of the podcast, but yeah, that's been something that drives me nuts. I don't know why they didn't. I mean, Bieber and Rosario had just maximum trade value at the beginning of the year, and I thought they got to do it, and they didn't, and now we're here, and it's frustrating because he's so bad defensively as well, and they only have 15 guys who could replace him in the minors right now, and 3 on the roster. So that, yeah, this season has been a little disappointing in so many ways. And I guess kind of like Oppenheimer, it's also part of my expectations, because I thought with the new rule change, I thought this team that made that run last year, like no shifts, the bases are bigger, you can only throw to pickoff attempts twice. Like these guys are going to be stealing every time they're on base. It's going to be the most fun brand of baseball we've ever seen, and it's just not. It's something happened along the way, and
there was a writer's strike.
I guess so.
And now the script is horrible.
They reverted back to the 2010 scripts.
They sure did. They sure did. So we do a thing on the show. We have sports betting legal here in Ohio. I know you guys don't have it out there yet in Cali. So we work with our buddies at Tipico on building a same game parlay for each game, and they kind of give it a boost so people get more money for what they bet. I want you to give us a leg for tomorrow, Tuesday's Guardians game against the Royals. It's Aaron Savali versus Zach Greinke, and I want you to give us a leg. It could be anything. It could be Guardians money line. It could be a player to get a hit. It could be a player to get a home run. It could be a certain number of strikeouts for Savali. Pretty much anything that you could put your mind to that's in the box score. You could bet on. So,
okay, I would say Quan will have 2 hits at least, and I think Ramirez goes deep.
All right, Quan, 2 hits and a Jose bomb.
Nice.
There you
All
go.
right, I like it.
Yeah, we will get that submitted and up for tomorrow.
So, Nick, do you think the Guardians stand pat? We've got a week until the trade deadline. Do you think the Guardians make a move here?
I mean, if I were running the team, I would probably stand pat. I just don't think they're good enough this year. But it just doesn't feel like it's their year. And I don't know who you go get that changes the course of things. I think you just have to bring Oscar Gonzalez back up, let him get his at-bats, bring Karinchak back up, see if he's fixed himself, and just kind of self-repair that way rather than go out and get who? I mean, who would you go get?
Shohei. No, I'm just kidding.
You think we have that big budget for our writers around here? No. We're not a big budget film. We're a small independent film that we're scraping by here, Nick.
Exactly.
And the economics.
Yeah. And the reviews have been mixed. So
that's for sure.
Hey, jumping ahead, what do you think about the Browns? What do you think about the chances of the Browns making the playoffs potentially this year with Deshaun Watson now, after what happened last year, having a full season to look forward to, some of the talent they've brought in, Elijah Moore, and also some defensive changes. Do you think this team has a chance to take it to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, they should. They look on paper like a top 5 team in the AFC to me. I think they could easily win the division. Um, yeah, I mean, the only thing that would stop them, I guess, would be the thing that stopped them for the last 20 years somehow. Just it never quite works out. But
Never comes.
but yeah, I mean, now's the time. I think Andrew Berry is a genius, and I think he's put together a really nice roster. And I'm excited to see what happens with Watson.
Have you ever seen in your inbox the NFL hiring writers?
The script. We heard a lot about that this year. The script.
Right. Well, I would, I'd put myself up for that because I have some ideas.
Oh, it wasn't a yes or a no.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say maybe
No, I
Nick's
think
the one doing all the writing over there.
Yeah, they need a better writer because it's been pretty predictable for the last 20 years.
It has been. Any parting thoughts? I'll let you hit Cavs too before you go. Donovan Mitchell, is he going to stick around? What do you think of the Cavs? What's the upshot for them?
I don't know. I mean, I think that they could be top 2 or 3 in the conference. I mean, what were they last year? 4?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying not to worry so much about Donovan Mitchell. I mean, I'm just trying to enjoy it for now. Some of the signs and noise out there, I don't know. It's not always hopeful, but he's here now, and I think that they could make a run. They've got all the pieces. If they can just learn from what happened in the playoffs, if guys like Jared Allen can just step up a bit more in the playoffs, I think they can make a run. Why not?
I love this positivity. Positivity.
That's right.
The Browns, the Cavs. This is it. This is it. New Cleveland, right?
Yeah. Well, what's the feel back home? I mean, what do you think about the Cavs and I mean, I know there's always optimism about the Browns.
I think people kind of like
Cautious
you.
optimism.
They're just trying
Always cautious optimism.
to ignore Mitchell and just kind of hope for the best.
Yeah, with the Cavs, and then with the Browns, of course. Now you're just starting training camp, and everybody's just trading videos of Deshaun Watson
Oh,
throwing.
we're drinking
simple
pina
out
coladas, baby. Greenbrier.
and saying we're going to the playoffs and we're going to the Super Bowl.
I think that was genius sending him down to West Virginia for a week.
For sure.
I really like that.
So you're really bought in on this whole regime. It sounds like, Nick.
I am. Yeah, I mean, the talent is fantastic. They've seemed to be really well structured in terms of salary cap. Heading into the future, I don't know how they do it, but they do it. It's on Stefanski now to see if he can really get the most out of Watson, and hopefully the defense doesn't get in the way. And I think I'm excited. I really think they're going to be good. And it's going to happen like in the first half of the first game. We're going to know who they are. I think, and I think they're going to be good.
Now, will you have a chance to make it back for any games?
Well, not probably not any home
Hopefully
games,
the
but I'll
writer's
see 'em on
strike is going to be resolved and everything will be good on the professional front. And I'm hoping for that. Now, let's assume that's a big assumption, but let's assume that. Would you be able to make it back?
I probably won't make it back home, but I'll definitely go see them on the road. They're coming out to LA.
Yeah, they play
So
the
I'll see 'em
Rams,
here.
baby, December 3.
Yeah, and I've got a brother in Indianapolis, so we'll probably try and see him there. So I mean, you've probably experienced this, but going to see a game on the road, it's always stunning to see how many Browns fans show up in Arizona and LA. It's like they always come. They always support. So
yeah. Well, Nick, thank you so much for coming on. This is a long time coming. I really appreciate you spending some time with us, and good luck. Good luck with the writer's strike and everything there. We're definitely thinking of you. And if there's anything us on our little dopey show can ever do for you, let us know.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And anytime, I'd love to come back.
Thanks,
and if there's
Nick.
ever a casting call and you're looking for dopey, like podcast types, and you're thinking, who'd be good for this? You know where to find me.
Oh yeah, no, I will have a face in mind. for
There
sure.
you go. Look at that.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
All right, bye guys.
Bye. How many puns we could get across there with script and sports was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I tried to work in as many as I could, so I did my part, I feel like.
Good job.
And he's one of those guys, he knows his stuff when it comes to Cleveland sports. It's amazing. Following along from that far away, he digs deep into the weeds and he knows exactly what's going on. So it's always cool to kind of catch up with those guys who have other big lives going on, but still are just on the pulse of what's going on here too.
Well, I mean, he listens to this show, so of course he would know what's going on.
And he built a killer parlay too. I can't wait to hit that and cash in, baby.
Yeah, we'll put that up tomorrow at Tipico Sportsbook. Download it. Code Reflog.
Yeah, I like those looks.
We're gonna hit our second interview, kind of go back to back.
We're gonna bring in our second interview, sponsored by Labatt, featured by Labatt, sponsored, same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
He's a pro runner for Adidas, Colby Alexander, friend of show. We had him on a couple years ago, but we're gonna talk about the Guardian Mile coming up this weekend.
Do.
All right. Presented by Labatt. There's so many ways to say it. So we're bringing in Colby Alexander. Thanks for joining us. And we got another big weekend coming up. 5th annual Guardian Mile. Expecting, over 800 runners. We've got elite talent coming in once again. Some pretty cool purse prizes. And just tell us a little bit about this race, Colby, because I know, isn't it your parents who put this whole thing together?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you.
All right, perfect. So 5th year for the race. Really excited for it. We got some good athletes coming in. We got the Matthew Centrowitz coming out. He won the gold medal in the 1500 in the Olympics in 2016. So that's really exciting. So if you haven't seen a gold medalist in run a race or just in person, definitely got to come out. And the men's the fields are stacked. And then also, I mean, if you want to hop in the community races and run, it's just a lot of fun because it's such a short race, like 1 mile. It's over quickly, and then you can just come out to the after party and have a beer and just hang out and meet the athletes and stuff. And
I would like to see McNeil do this.
It's a good
McNeil,
time.
you gonna do it, or you gonna be drinking pina coladas and Greenbrier?
Pina coladas at Greenbrier.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
starting to get back into my running after being on vacation. Even taking a week and a half off, which is all I did. And man, oh man, it's kind of rough getting back into it.
Really sets it back.
Well, it's point to point and it's downhill a little bit. It's over that Hope Memorial Bridge, with all the Guardians. So McNeil, you got a little bit of, the beginning, right, Colby, is a little uphill, but then, it's smooth sailing.
Yeah, it's like a 1/4 mile flat, and then you kind of climb for, I want to say, 500 meters, and then you get a nice steep downhill.
Okay.
So Kobe, what are you going to run it in?
Well, I actually just had Achilles surgery, so I'm out this year. I'm not going to be able to run it.
Yeah, so did I. So I'm out as well.
Okay.
Same. That makes 3 of us. IR.
No, it's crazy.
What would you normally run that in?
Yeah, give us your stats. That's my bad. I should have done the whole intro. He's out of Strongsville, so he's a local guy. And so we got you ran for Oregon, All-American in the DMR.
Correct.
Your
Yeah.
1600 was something with high school was pretty. Oh, state champ in the mile in high school.
Yep.
Yes, and you made the finals of the U.S. Olympic trials in both 2016 and 2021. You hit your 1500 meter personal best kind of recently, 3:33.65. That's crazy. So that converts to like a 3:50 high mile.
Just getting better with age.
Yeah, baby, like a fine wine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what else is cool to point out? I'm pretty sure when we had you on before, you weren't sponsored. Maybe it was 2020. I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't sponsored. I was sponsored by Hoka for like 4 years or so, and then there was a year or two I wasn't sponsored, and then yeah, I just kept running well, and yeah, Adidas picked me up. So
Then you hit that personal best and you got locked with Adidas, right?
yeah, exactly. I had a couple good races after that, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so McNeil, if you can't best a 350, don't bother coming.
Yeah, 350. That's insane.
Well, the men's race last year was, well, the men and women, they both ran so fast, but Johnny Gregoric ran 346.67. And I'm pretty sure that's the fastest time, if you count road miles, it's the fastest time in history for men, for American. But obviously you can't count that as like an American record because it's a point to point. You get a little bit of a downhill.
That's what Kenny was saying. But can't it be
but
like a
still.
converted at all, or no? It still doesn't count.
You'd be too hard to figure out the conversion.
Okay.
And there was also, it was perfect conditions. We had a huge tailwind last year too.
Yeah.
So,
But still, that time, I mean, I can't run a half a mile in that. Can't even come close. That's insane.
not many people can.
No.
It's insane. Because we were 155 up the hill, like at the 800, at the halfway point. We hit 155. So.
Wow. And you ran for Oregon.
Yep, University of Oregon. So was there for 5 years, 2010 to 2015.
Which is a fantastic running program from what I understand as well.
Yeah.
Kind of the grow up of Nike came right out of there. Did you see Air?
I didn't.
Air.
Did you?
Huh?
Did you see it?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just Phil Knight, and it mentions Oregon, and it's kind of set out there originally. So, did you have any interaction with Phil Knight or the execs or anything with Nike back in the day? I know you're with Adidas now, so I don't.
I actually didn't. But it was always really cool because like apparently Phil Knight he's a huge track nut with Oregon, and he knows every single person on the team. He knows their PRs. Like to this day, like he knows he watches the results of the meets, and like I never got to meet him, but he definitely knows who I am, and he could probably tell you all my PRs, which is really cool.
And I believe that even in the movie, they show him, he's like running everywhere. Like he's just such a nut. They make him out to be that kind of a nut in there. So I could definitely see that. That's pretty cool. And I'd imagine you had some pretty cool uniforms too that would stick out there being affiliated with Nike.
Different uniforms seemed like every meet. But they were so strict about it. Like we didn't know what uniform we were going to be wearing until like last minute. And then we have to go pick it up and then we have to drop it off. So you couldn't even keep your uniform. So if you ever find those like on the internet or something, like I don't know how they snuck away with them, because we would get in trouble if we held on to the uniforms. We got to turn them back in.
Oh, I stole my racing shorts at Syracuse.
You sold them?
Yeah. I stole them.
Oh, stolen.
I'd never sell them. They're the best. I don't even know if Nike makes a pair of shorts like that anymore. They're just like spandex that don't ride up, and I don't know, it's magic.
Yeah, the Nike stuff is like they're like racing shoes, and their uniforms are always top notch for sure.
So was that unique to Oregon and Nike that they would take back that stuff right after the races? Would they do that at other schools, or is it just you guys had some like test stuff and some proprietary stuff, threads that they didn't want out there?
Yeah, I think that is part of it. We would always get like, so kind of the way the cycle works is, so like Nike makes the Olympic uniforms, and the Olympic uniforms will be like the newest stuff that no one's had yet. But meanwhile, Oregon actually gets that stuff too. And so Oregon will have like the next newest uniform set or whatever before all the other Nike schools out there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So to a novice like weekend runner like as myself, who's just kind of out there to keep my 44-year-old body in somewhat of a shape, what is your best tips for me to kind of be better at running and keep my body in better shape as I continue and as I grow older?
I would say just consistency. You just gotta, whether you're getting out there and running, 5 miles or a half mile, just keeping consistent and getting out the door, putting those shoes on and getting out the door for a little bit. Um,
So
I don't know
don't take a
whatever
week,
your
week
plan
and a
is
half
every
off
day.
when I go on vacation.
Yeah,
So
that
don't
that's
get too
that's
big.
an issue because it just sets you back. I mean, if I took like a week and a half off, I'd feel like crap.
Yeah.
Getting back into it too.
How did you get your Achilles injury?
So it's I had I could probably talk for a little while about it, but I'll spare you guys. But I had a like a bone spur on my heel, and so it just keeps growing over time, and it kind of looks like a peak on my heel bone. The heel bone's supposed to be kind of rounded, and
Okay, yeah.
it had a sharp kind of point to it, and it was just. I mean, I've been running forever, so it just kind of grew over time, and it was just kind of digging into my Achilles tendon, and it was just really painful, especially when I got into like the racing shoes. But I was managing it for a while, but I just got to the point where I really couldn't do it anymore. So I had the same surgery done on my left heel, and it worked great. So
Oh, sweet. Well, okay,
yeah,
so we're hoping to see you next year then run this race.
yeah, for sure. I'll be there.
What else can we expect this weekend? I know it's super fun. It's an evening race. It's not a morning race. It's like you see the sunset. Last year
Yeah.
was perfect weather. We had the beer and the party afterward, per usual. Like the whole community comes together. The fact that this has grown to over 800 people coming out, it's just like it looks so good for our city, and it's really cool to have literally some of the most talented runners around the country here with us in the land.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't get an opportunity to see some of these runners like every day, especially in like Ohio. Like when I grew up, we never had any big time like Olympians or anything coming out for races. So I mean, we're getting an opportunity to see the Olympic gold medalist, and then you can keep going. You can keep going down the list. Like every single runner is amazing in their own right. Like, and then exactly like beautiful sunset, just a great energy, just great crowd. It's just a really fun event. So come on out and sign up and run. I mean, one of the other people who helped put on the race, Kenny, he thinks we're going to get around 800, but I feel like it's going to be more. We had like 600, one of like 670 last year, but
Yeah.
I got a feeling it's going to be more this year.
Yeah,
than
we got a
800.
lot of people. And I won't be singing the anthem this year, but it looks like we locked in Hayden Grove. Has he been on our show?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure. Hayden's been
Okay.
on the show.
Yeah, friend of show. So hopefully he'll be singing the national anthem, another Cleveland talent. Yeah, it'll be exciting. So if anyone catches this and you're a track nerd or a runner nerd or you just enjoy it for fun, it's hard not to get an adrenaline boost like watching these people fly through the finish line. The elites is just like incredible. We talk about so many other sports on this podcast. One of the things I think is interesting about running is your lifestyle, the commitment and sacrifices you have to make for that kind of lifestyle. I think people don't really register what that really is. Because you have to get your sleep. You have to train all the time. Off days, those accumulate, and like you need the miles to be strong enough to run even just 1 mile. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm excited. I'll actually be out of town this year, but I'll be checking in with the race results.
All
And
right.
Kobe, I see the hat there. Your thoughts on the Guardians here at the midway point or just past the midway point?
Well, I mean, I still think they're going to win the division. I'm pretty disappointed with this year so far. I got my hopes up big time, but it seems like they're just playing. They're doing like just as well as they were doing to this point last year.
Yeah.
But we got some injuries this time around. The bullpen's a little shaky. I don't understand the bullpen because we got like apparently like the second best ERA or something in the whole league. But it seems like every game, it's like a 1-run game or we're winning late and then they blow the lead. So I don't know.
Yeah,
But,
I did see
rotate.
that. The Guardians tweeted that, and then I was like, that was ironic.
Yeah. But you know, I don't know. I still think if you can just get to October, like anything can happen.
We're a
But
week
I want
until.
Oscar up. That's what I want.
Yeah, you're the second guest in a row who's now pulling for Oscar to come back up.
I
That's
re-
wild.
Actually,
And
intern Jack and I were just talking about this today, right? Was that? Yeah, that was earlier. We were just saying Oscar could come back. Well, you don't like him. I like him.
They're deep in the meme labs over there. You gotta leave the interns alone. That group chat right now is just unsalvageable. They are just memeing away over there. So don't even.
Are
look
you
in that
memeing
side
about
right now.
Oscar though?
They're memeing about anything that you could imagine. They're just in the lab over there.
Wow, man, good for nothing.
So what do you think? Do you think the Guardians are going to be buyers? Are they going to be sellers? Are they going to stand pat here with a week until the trade deadline?
I feel like we're gonna be buyers. I don't know what we could sell. I thought it was gonna be Bieber, and then that kind of fell through. I mean, well, I don't really know what we could sell. It's like it's one of those things where I don't want to. There's not many guys I want to see them trade because it seems like every time we get rid of one of these young guys, they end up going off. Like, Nolan and Brennan are right. Am I getting this right? Yeah, Will
Nolan,
Brennan and no, Will Brennan's on the team.
He's still on the team.
There's a guy in Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's Will Benson.
Benson, yeah, similar kind of name. But
I feel like
I feel
Jake
like those
Bowers
guys
is
are
doing
doing
really well
well.
now too, wherever he is, or is he not?
Yeah.
Was he? Or Yandy Diaz is doing well.
Right.
Or no, it was Owen Miller. I think he's popping off.
Him, Nolan.
Yeah,
Jones.
he hit that home run against us. Like,
Yeah.
I was at that game.
You know we're really bitten if Bobby Bradley starts showing up in like pinstripes and starts mashing. Then you know. We're
He's
really
with the
bitten.
Savannah Bananas, Chris. You don't got to worry about that.
Oh man, I play a lot of
The
MLB.
assassin,
The Show.
baby. Come on.
I play a lot of MLB The Show, and I think I hit like 50 homers with Bobby Bradley.
My man right there. Brings a
Where is
tear to my
Bobby
eye.
Bradley?
Yeah.
God love the assassin.
Cool. Well, Colby, thanks for sharing some of your obviously Cleveland fandom with us, but also pitching the race, and hopefully we get some people to come out this weekend.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hope to see you guys out there. It's gonna be a good one.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
For
And
sure.
good luck on
Thank
your
you, Kobe.
recovery
Good
there,
luck.
too.
Thanks. See you guys.
See ya.
Achilles, nothing to play with, man. Feel bad for him.
Yeah.
It sounds like after those surgeries, though, he's going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah. Modern medicine, you can bounce back from that pretty good. We've seen it being done a time or two. All right, should we actually hit fill in the blank for real this time?
I think we should.
It's hot in here.
So hot, but we have to get clips from this show.
Okay, here we go.
Group chat. Alrighty.
You don't want to be in the intern group chat. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure you don't want to be.
No, what is so funny? Jack is in the fetal position.
No, I don't. I actually don't know what Jack's laughing about.
Send it to me, Jack.
Once again, I don't want to know. I do not want to know.
All right, fill in the
We
blank.
don't have an HR department, but I'm sure it would probably be something that would violate.
No, I
some
don't
sort
think
of-
so. They have like a Rolodex of memes to use on social. So they're literally just sending like things like back and forth with just no context, more or less. But it's funny, so they're like Jack is literally rolling on the floor in the studio.
He is the rolling on the
yeah. He's
whatever the acronym
literally
is.
rolling on the floor laughing.
What is that?
Someone left their cell phone
Oh yeah, somebody.
at the airport.
Yeah. So this has
This
been the
has
most
been the
chaotic
weirdest
day because
day.
Bohm has been tweaking this whole episode because there was this guy that came in here and I kind of yelled at him. I'll put my hand up. I was very mean to the guy that came in here and he said, "Is this one of your guys' phone?" It was in the bathroom. I'm like, "Hey pal, we're getting ready to start a show. You see the lights? You see the camera? I don't know whose phone it is. It's not any of ours." Go
Wow,
put it
so
out
he
there."
got pissed off and left it right outside of our
been
door.
ringing.
Thanks to you.
It's been ringing incessantly, and I think Jack
You know
might
what?
have
He
just went
probably
and
is
threw
now
it in the-
playing a prank on us. This dude's probably calling it because
I think Jack just went and threw it in the lake. So.
no, it's still very loud, Jack. Did you locate it? Did you see it?
Yeah, I moved it further away.
Oh my gosh.
In the
Not-
lake.
not
in the
far
lake.
enough away.
In the lake. Go throw it in the lake, Jack.
Well, it was found in the bathroom, so it could just be put back into the
the
bathroom.
bathroom.
Oh man.
Or in the
goodness.
toilet, so that way it stops ringing.
Wow.
Well, we want them to find their phone.
Is
Nick.
it an
Come on.
iPhone? This guy's got to use
No,
Find My Phone.
it wasn't, and that's what even made me more mad because I knew it was nobody's here's phone. So I was like,
that's why he
"Get it
keeps
outta here.
calling it
We're trying
because
to
he
get something
can't
done."
find it.
This
in
guy's
the
in hell
cloud.
right now.
It's quiet now. All right, the MLB trade deadline is next Tuesday. Guardians should blank at the trade deadline. We were just kind of talking about this. Are we buyers, sellers, stay put? I think I know your input.
Chris, what do you think? Where are you kind of at with this? Because obviously they're 2-ish games back. You know that fluctuates kind of by the night. What do you think they do? Last year we saw the success when they stood pat.
I think they're going to do the same thing this year. I
Really?
do. I really do. I know that Antonetti went on
Yeah.
and said, hey, we're looking for a starting pitcher. We're looking for another bat. But I don't believe him. I think that's what you say, is that you're always looking and you're always looking to improve the team. But I think still being the youngest team in baseball, I think they're pretty happy with standing pat, seeing the division for what it is, which is not very good. Right now, what are we, 2.5 back of the Twins? So even with the roster as it's assembled right now, we're quote unquote competitive within this division. And I think that's going to be enough to have them say, we're just going to stand pat. I would like to see them make a move, but I just don't see them doing it as an organization right now.
Yeah. I'm regretfully with you. I think the fan in me is hoping that they do something. I look at this roster.
What do you think they would do? What do you think they would do, Nick? If you could wave a wand and forget about Ohtani for a second. If you could wave a wand, I mean, something that you think that, okay, this is within the realm of possibility with the Cleveland Guardians. What would it be?
Well, Shohei Ohtani is my number one, and I think that if Dan Gilbert owned
Not happening.
if Dan Gilbert owned the Guardians, Shohei Ohtani would already be in a Guardians uniform, which is unfortunate because that just goes to show that it's really not a money issue. It's just kind of, do you have what it takes between the legs to get it done? And I just don't think that they do. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I do think I agree with what Antonetti said.
Well,
I think
if the Haslams owned him right now and Shohei Ohtani had all kinds of off the field issues, then he would also be in a Guardians
with the Dude Wipes commercial.
That's exactly right. But guess what? Neither of those scenarios are true. So with the Guardians as assembled right now, with the ownership group, what do you see them doing?
I want them to just get better. Like you've gone. It was 1948 the last time that you won a World Series. My grandparents weren't even alive yet, and half of them are already dead. So like you've gotta try something new. I get that that's how their organization runs. That's not how they do business. In any business model, in any take Big Play for an example. If you do something and fail that many times since 1948. Wouldn't you pivot and try something different? And I know that's just not in their DNA, and they're not going to do it. I like that Lars Nootbaar dude, the outfielder for the St. Louis Cardinals. I think you got to find a legitimate bat in the outfield. Steven Kwan makes contact, but for an outfielder, it's just like he's, on a World Series team, Steven Kwan is probably your 7th or 8th hitter in your lineup. He's not the leadoff guy. You need somebody with a little bit of pop. So I just hope they get a big bat. The home run metrics are horrible. So I hope they find somebody that could just bring a little bit of power to it and protect protect Josh Naylor a little bit better.
Do you believe them when they say they're looking at pitching? Do you think they bring in or take a look at any pitchers here?
I think maybe they go in the bargain barrel because but I don't know because the young kids are doing very well, and I also wouldn't move Savali. I get that was kind of floated last week. Yeah. Those were the reports that we were hearing more and more. I wouldn't really do that either. I think when Tristan McKenzie's healthy with the young guys plus Siv, that's kind of really all you need in the pitching department. I'm so sick, and maybe that's really my issue, Chris, is I'm so sick of the pitching. We have good pitching every year. Don't worry about the pitching. You're dead last in the league in home runs again. Find a big bat.
Hey, since the All-Star break, we've been hitting dingers though.
Yeah, little bit for sure.
Little bit. We came out 14 dingers, something like that, since the All-Star break. So
yeah.
we're starting to mash a little bit, and we've got a couple of divisional series now coming up. So
Yeah, you know, this week, we won't be able to put any of these clips out there because we'll beat up on the poverty Royals. But then the second we play somebody good, it's going to be the same thing, up and down, up and down, up and down until we play the Twins at the end. I think it's going to be close the whole way until the end.
And to your point, but I think that's what causes the complacency.
Yeah, for sure.
You just come
You're in
off a
Mickey
weekend,
Mouse.
Nick,
Yeah.
where the house is packed, everyone's excited, and for good reason. I mean, we are in second place, and we did win 2 out of 3 from the Phillies, who were in the World Series last year. But at the same time, we're not world beaters by any stretch.
No.
And we know that we're going to pick up some games here, hopefully this week against the Kansas Cities, and that's going to get everybody juiced. And then we're going to pack the stadium. And as long as we're doing that, I don't know what the incentive is until the division gets a little bit better. And then all of a sudden you got to raise your game. But I don't see
Or
them making
you know what it'll be though? It'll be the opposite. Win one of those teams, and it probably won't be the Twins because they kind of do the same thing that we do every year. Just go in the discount bin and try to say that we're staying competitive. I think when a team does it the right way, like the Tigers, maybe the Royals, but they're so many years away. But I think the Tigers or the White Sox probably the best example, and they take the division by 8 games, 10 games, and they prove that they're the class and that everybody else is just kind of screwing around. I think then they go full tear down and they trade everybody and kind of build it the right way back up. So that's why I'm right now like, you got to do something because you're in this contention window, quote unquote, but you are not going to contend with if say you win the division and it's the Yankees again. I'll tell you right now how that series ends. Like there no surprises. You're going to lose.
We got a better shot than the Twins do. At least historically.
Yeah, because you have pitch. Yeah, because good pitching in the playoffs, but you just don't have enough offense to hang. I don't know.
And Nick, you're right. Our young guys are pretty impressive. Tanner Bybee, I think it's like in his last 5 starts, he's a 1.22 ERA. The other day, 7 innings of work, only allowed 2 hits, 1 walk, I think it was, and 8 strikeouts. I mean, that's pretty. He just got here. He's only been on the mound, big league mound, 15 times. So I think we're gonna see our young guys like. They're just so good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm with you on that.
Between Bybee and Allen, like you could literally flip a quarter heads or tails the next 5 years. Which one's going to be the ace and which one's going to be the 2? Like they're both very good.
Both very good. Anyway, that was only one fill in the blank.
That was only one fill in the blank, but I think it was needed.
Where do you think, should we skip ahead? Where do you think Shohei Ohtani's going to go or be on August 2nd?
I wish here. I really do. It was so funny to me, and I get that it's not realistic, but the fact that Antonetti said, like, we're looking for a starting pitcher and a big bat. It's like, if there was only one guy that could do both, I think he would.
Oh, you think that's what he was saying? I didn't even put that together.
I didn't either. That's funny and true.
No. I mean, he wasn't saying Ohtani. I don't think he was speaking about Ohtani, but my brain went, hey, dummy, there's literally a guy that's out there that's available that's like the best in the world at both. So I don't know. I just kind of had myself a little laugh. I think he should probably stay with the Angels. I think if the Angels were smart, they would keep him. I get that they haven't won much with him, but I have such a hard time in any sport just letting a guy that talented leave. They're going to get a poo-poo platter for him. That's why I want the Guardians to do it. Everybody's like, well, what about the farm system? What about the prospects? Who cares about the prospects? Give me the MLB ready guy. So if I'm the Angels, I'm keeping him. Chris, do you care where he goes?
No, I think he stays with the Angels too. If I were to guess though, a location outside of the Angels, I could see him going to the Dodgers just because they'll spend money. Yeah, and that's the market that's very close, and they could steal a whole lot of thunder from not too far away. But nonetheless, I have that inclination too. There just hasn't been enough smoke to me to think that he's really
going to get moved. Yeah,
I could be wrong, but he also strikes me as a little bit of. He enjoys his team so much. Like, he strikes me as a little bit of a Jose Ramirez in the aspect of I could see him just staying because, I mean, he's already making bank. They're going to make accommodations for him. And he seems to really, they're always, or at least on social media, we're always blowing up the antics between him and his teammates and stuff.
And they're making bank too. Like, that's my whole thing. People are like, the Dolans can't afford it. They'll make that money back so quick. Like, watch an Angels game. They have international sponsors. The sponsors that, like, where we have Marathon on the backstop, or, you know, all the different Window Nation. They have, like, national brands that are in a different language back there because this dude's an international.
Here's a good question. Do you think Shohei Ohtani could have the economic impact, like, more so of one than LeBron James ever did?
No, because it would be a shorter time horizon.
Yeah,
is what it would be.
I think he would make
synonymous with Cleveland for so long.
I think Ohtani would make the Dolans more money than LeBron made Dan, maybe, because the Dolans would be able to profit off of what I'm saying. You know, any Japanese advertisers that wanted to get involved with the team or be on the
because his reach
backstop.
is so far and global, and
But
I mean, so is LeBron's,
but like for the I mean, they'd sell out Progressive Field, but honestly, they've been doing that anyway. They've been drawing crowds down there without Shohei.
Yeah. Wow, that would be crazy. I don't even want to talk about it because it's not going to happen, but
I'm going to beat the drum till it doesn't.
I like it. The Browns position group I'm most concerned about.
I'm going to go with defensive tackle, Gab, and that's just because
you stole mine.
Yeah, it's just because I feel like they probably didn't completely 1000% address it in free agency and the draft. They patched it up. They definitely went quantity over quality, and they got a ton of guys there who they're going to be an upgrade over what we saw last year. But I think that's probably the one that I'm a little bit nervous about. Obviously, they cut Perry on, which, geez, by the way. But I think that's the one that I'm the most nervous about. I have trust that Jim Schwartz could make do with what he has, but I'd feel really good if they had like another starting caliber defensive lineman in that room.
To be honest with you, I don't know how you could look at this team any other way. And, you know, last year, the Browns are 32nd against the run. You just can't be 32nd against the run.
Yeah.
And that all starts up front with this defensive line. So I'm going to be very interested to see how Jim Schwartz, how his defense, how the personnel now that they brought in, how that all works to stop the run, because you've got to be able to do that. I understand it's a passing league, but at the end of the day, you can't be dead last in the league against the run and expect to do anything in this division or in this league.
I was listening to a Jim Schwartz interview, too, on how he kind of views the defensive line, and I thought it was very interesting. He compared it to baseball and said you use a defensive line, if you're smart, like a bullpen, where you're constantly just churning and rotating guys to keep your best guys fresh at the end of games. So I think having the Maurice Hills of the world and Siaki Ikas, who are definitely not Aaron Donald talent-wise, but they could give you enough throughout a game that you keep Dalvin Tomlinson, Myles Garrett, and Zadarius Smith fresh for the rest of the game. I think that's what really matters. So just keep those guys fresh, and the rest will be cool.
Okay. Browns Madden ratings are... Here's some notable player rankings. Garrett, number 1 with Nick Bosa.
Yeah,
Chubb,
I saw
number 1.
98. Chubb, 97.
Watson's a 78. What do you think about that?
I think we got to look at how the national audience views Deshaun Watson on the field. You know, not that good. He's down there with guys like Derek Carr. He was down there with Jimmy G. Kyler was above him.
I think it's fair, though, coming out number 16 after what they saw last year. It's a game that updates during the course of the season.
Yep. You could go up.
It's not like it's printed and it's set. So that certainly has room to go up a big time if you're starting off at 78. Number 16 quarterback in the league, you know, right in the middle. I'm okay with that. I'm more excited. I'll tell you, Nick, we're a top 10 team on Madden. How often has that happened during my lifetime? Forget about your lifetime. My lifetime, 44 years. I've been playing a lot of Madden over those years, and it's been very rare that I haven't had to take a Browns team and significantly upgrade it to make it decent so I could have fun on the thing, or take it down from like all pro level all the way down to like rookie for a while until I figured out what I was doing on the Madden. But yeah. I mean, quite seriously, I want to be able to play with my team as is. And this year, you have an opportunity to play the Madden Browns team as is rather than significantly upgrading it to make it a decent team.
Talented. They're talented, man.
Yeah.
They are.
They have the Browns in the top 10, number 7.
Yeah, they're number 7, top 10. I'll take that all day long. I think number 7 in the league. I mean, if somebody said, hey, where would you rank the Browns? Power rank them right now. And somebody said 7th, I'd say,
Yeah,
okay.
you'd be happy with that for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it, Chris. All right, what do you guys say we hit some big play bets and get on out of here? It's hot. Alrighty, you could bet on all the biggest sporting events all year round with us at Tipico Sportsbook, MLB in full swing, MLS and Lionel Messi. You could bet on all that action too. PGA football season right around the corner. Your Cleveland Browns take on the Jets in the Hall of Fame game just 10 days away. You better believe that Tipico already has the line set for that preseason matchup as well as week 1 of the regular season. So hop onto Tipico Sportsbook. Go check out all the football markets. Now it's future season. You like Myles Garrett, 7-1 to win Defensive Player of the Year. Now is the time to put that in before he starts getting all these sacks with Zadarius Smith. So you could go check them out. They do all kind of great promos and boosts, especially for our local Cleveland sports teams. Be sure to sign up with our show link to get $200 of bets on us with that first $50 deposit. You got to be 21 years or older to gamble in Ohio. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's take a look at some bets this week. We heard the same game parlay that we're throwing in for tomorrow. So let's already speed up to Wednesday. Guardians and Royals. It's Gavin Williams versus Alec Marsh. We're going to build our own same game parlay. Marsh is a rookie and he's never faced the Guardians. And the Royals have allowed the third most runs in the MLB at 5.38 per game. I think we give Gavin Williams some love in this one, but also maybe the over just for the game because I feel like the Guardians will be able to put up some runs here.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Nick, I'm on a bit of a heater right now on these. I've gotten the boosts. We had yesterday Jose Ramirez to get an RBI.
Yep.
Ding, hit that one. And then we had another boost that was, what was that? That was
the Guardians money line.
Schwarber.
Yeah. Yeah.
No record a hit and Guardians to win. That was a nice one there, Nick.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, I think we'll just stay hot with all of these. Let's go with the over for Gavin Williams strikeouts as well as the over in the game. Same game parlay that. Throw it up on Tipico and stay hot. Thursday, Guardians at White Sox. It's Tanner Bybee versus Dylan Cease, and we are going to go over under for Tanner Bybee's strikeouts. Gab talked about it before. His last 5 starts, 1.21 ERA, 34 strikeouts, 17 hits, only 12 walks. The dude is just on a tear. I think we have to go over, right?
You got to go over. Yeah. Ride that momentum.
Over in Guardians money line? Hell yeah. All right, let's wrap this thing up. It's Yankees and Orioles, Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. It's Sevy versus Dean Kramer. Who are we taking in this? Are we riding with the Orioles?
Severino walking in with a 6.46.
No kidding. What happened to him? He used to be good.
Woo-wee.
The Yankees are only 2 games out of the wild card.
Traveling to the O's. I hate the Yankees, but man, I think the Yankees walk in Sunday Night Baseball, big stage, and they're going to take a W there. They're going to win it.
They are kind of built for that. I agree. I'm kind of going to go with the Yankees too. Don't love it, but whatever. That's our.
When did we get Aaron Judge back?
I don't know. He's been out since June 3rd.
That's insane.
Yeah, wow. That's big news, especially to. Honestly, if you're a Yankee fan, are you feeling good with where you're at? Like you're literally a half game out of a wild card spot with no Judge. I feel like I'd be feeling pretty all right.
Yeah, that's true. They need a bat. Maybe they go and get Ohtani. Upset you.
On that note, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Big Play Reflog Show. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, but also download that Tipico Sportsbook app. When you do use promo code Reflog, when you deposit $50, we'll give you $200 bets on us. now's the time to do it. Lock in before football season with us. We got a lot of fun stuff coming for it. So we will see you guys then. Till then, see ya.